You used to. Okay.
Did.
Does anyone play Smite? Fuck you guys. Come on. Is this 18 and up?
No.
We have to start checking IDs.
Fight me in Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Fight you in Dark Souls?
Yeah, PvP.
Fuck you. That's why I'm never alive in Dark Souls, because of dick smokers like you. I got enough to deal with, trying to figure out where the bell tower is. I got to deal with some naked guy with a samurai sword just jumping up out of nowhere and stabbing me to death. Go screw yourself. I just became alive. What's the point of humanity in the first place?
There isn't. That's the point.
Well,
I mean, you're the lead in Tokyo Ghoul.
I'm sorry, look, I'm an old man. I like to play single-player games on a moderate level. I like those games because they don't call it easy. They call it enjoyable.
Novice.
Right? Okay? I enjoy Dark Souls. I had a hard enough time getting through it. I don't need some 12-year-old Asian kid who's been doing this for 5 years to come and rape me before I even know what the hell's going on.
I don't like being called racial slurs every 5 seconds.
Look, it's right up your alley.
There are black people in us.
Hey, Crystal.
I think like I should
Can
not.
she hear me?
This is awesome.
Everybody say hi to Crystal.
Hi, Crystal.
They're not very good at being
I'm sorry, we haven't been assimilated yet.
But that echo, though.
Okay, we're gonna work on the rest of the panel and we'll call you at the end. Alright, love you, Joe. Talk to you soon. Bye. Hey, you.
How you doing, Frank?
Awesome.
That's beautiful.
I've been enjoying the
We'll
con.
listen to this just
How
for
have you
an
been
extra
enjoying the
second.
con?
Here's what we're
Good.
gonna do.
Fun so far?
While I'm waiting for other people to show up, hang on. I want us all to just, like, really chill out, think about, relax about how wonderful life is, that we can all share this time together.
Yeah.
Come on.
Just comes into the store.
Oh, do you want some heavy metal?
The guy that
Yeah.
walks out.
That can be arranged.
He always comes into the
No.
store.
I want a very specific song. It's called Again Never. Brandon Marcellus.
I'm sure.
Man, Reddit sometimes annoys the shit out of me.
Hey, better than 4chan.
Oh, goodness.
This is what I like to do sometimes.
Make sure.
Here we go. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Can we turn it up just a bit?
You guys rock.
Candy?
This is my favorite song ever. So we're just gonna chill
The less my bag weighs.
while I read some shower thoughts. I wonder if people stranded on desert islands clean up their help or SOS signs before they leave. If not, how many times has a rescue landed and looked for hours for someone that's no longer there? I don't dislike mornings. I dislike being woken up and having to do a bunch of stuff right after. Patrick from SpongeBob is always clueless. Patrick from SpongeBob. He's always clueless because he lives under a rock.
That's the joke.
See, we did a joke.
Kids have imaginary
Poor
friends,
kids.
but adults have imaginary enemies. There should be more chairs in clothing stores. Every teacher who used to use the tired line, "You won't be walking around with a calculator in your pocket, so you better know how to do it by hand." Well, they must feel like a complete idiot right now. Kill and execute are antonyms when it comes to computer terms. to the internet, I've seen more boobs than all the kings of antiquity. I'm going to do housework and then do homework is a completely acceptable sentence in the English language. I get it. Okay. Evolution operates on the principle of it's not a bug, it's a feature. God, there's too many programmers writing this today. I'm in charge of hiring new employees for the first time in my career, and apparently I am far more prejudiced towards poor spelling and grammar than I am towards gender and race. Don't believe him. If I took an IQ test first thing in the morning, I'm sure I'd qualify as intellectually disabled. That sounds like a personal problem. That's not a shower thought. I think I'm very much smarter than the average bird. But I don't think I'd be able to make a nest out of twigs. Wait, this one's just rude. We don't deserve the teachers we have. Kids are assholes. Mario and Luigi, two plumbers who do literally everything except plumbing.
Wait, I don't
They
get
give
it.
examples. Adventures, practice medicine, racing, tennis, Olympics, space travel. Sometimes I can't tell if I'm getting dumber or if younger me was just very arrogant. I'm really glad that calling someone an asshole is gender neutral. Sorry. If I laugh first, then I lose. I take the laugh away from you. Look, see, there's still people coming. What are we at? 9:07? I can do this for 55 minutes. Don't worry. Hey, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Do you think beta fish always fight because one day they believe they'll be alpha fish?
Yes.
Good answer. I can use the phrase, it's not my first rodeo, for many things, except for an actual rodeo. An ass load was probably an actual unit of measurement that referred to how much weight the average donkey could carry at some point in history. Somebody make sure that's true. Why make that as a shower thought? Google that first. See, people are
You can
still
Google
coming.
anything.
You late mother. Okay. Hey. How's it going? Close your mouth, young lady. You look like a trout. Sorry, that was so rude. That was a quote. That was a quote.
Oh, I'm just trying to remember where it's from.
I think it. Was it Arrested Development? No. But you know what I'm talking about. Kindred Spirits. Okay. Let's see if I can find one that's a question. No, I can't. Moving on. You can find a place to sit. Don't worry about me. Why are there?
Wait, you voice acted Kaneki?
Yeah.
Did you hear about the Japanese voice actor of Kaneki? Him and the voice actor for Hide, actually had this little bit where Kaneki was Kaneko-chan. It was rather funny.
Oh, wait, what does that mean? Did they do something sexy?
Kaneko-chan.
Huh?
Kaneki mixed with Neko means cat.
Oh, okay.
It was funny.
What does that have to do with Hide?
Hide was at the cafe apparently, because apparently it was a big cafe.
This was in a manga or fanfic or your dream?
This was just them goofing around.
This was just them pooping around.
Just them goofing around. That was it.
Oh wait, who? The voice actors.
Yeah, the Japanese
Oh.
voice actors.
Oh.
And then
I hope I get to meet him one day because I did meet. Sorry, I cut you off. What were you gonna say?
and then there was a part of it where the Sugiyama voice actor was from Sugiyama.
I've seen American Tsukiyama drunk, if that helps. And he likes my smell. We can keep the jazz going along the same lines. We've got a playlist or something, or not. Look, just nothing. No. I want soft-spoken instrument. I want to tell you, okay, this is my room. We're gonna talk about my vibe, okay? You guys just got to listen to my favorite song ever in the universe. It was Again Never from the album Mo Better Blues, which is a movie, and it was performed by Branford Marsalis Quartet, who I've seen live a few times. And the reason I love that song so much is I don't generally like jazz, especially like light jazz or whatever, but there's something about that song that's like super chill. Like it reminds you like the middle of the day, like you stayed home from work or school and it's overcast and it's 2 p.m. and you just woke up from a nap and the window's open and your bed's near the window and there's sunbeams kind of drifting in and your cat lazily looks up at you and you realize you're not hungry, you're not really tired, and you're not wanting of anything. You're just kind of lying in this place. It's not the beginning of the day. It's not the end of the day. It's not a negative like Abrahamic Judaic version of purgatory. If anything, it's this contented stasis that you just kind of exist in. That lets you appreciate what it is to just breathe. And it reminds me of my favorite anime, Fully Cooley, because it's just this idea. You guys remember half of that show? Yeah, there we go. Man, you guys, please be here for all my panels. It was just one notch a little too loud, but that was perfect. But yeah, Fully Cooley was like, it was always like in the middle of the day, he was like hanging out under a sewer and talking to his friend, and then suddenly like Guitar Girl would show up, and he'd just become, at the same time, like the theme of the song was just this kind of chill, like, after existence. And, like, if we all just lived in that place where it's like, hey, we're breathing, man, like, this ain't a race. Because if you race to the finish, then you just die faster. You don't get to keep any of your gold stars with you either. So it's just like this idea of just like, no beginning and no end, but not in a scary way. Because purgatory is like this, like, purgatory is supposed to be prison, like you're waiting for punishment. But this is more like just like nirvana. Like how far away can we get from the shackles of desire while still appreciating the wonder of life and breath. So I'm just killing time until we start this off. Luckily, there's like 3 times as many people view as there were before, so it makes me feel a little less insecure. Anyway, as you talk so much to yourselves, which feel free to do, whatever. Oh shit, it's already 9:13, I killed a lot of time. Okay.
Hi, my name's Austin Tindle. I played the voice of
Kaneki from Tokyo Ghoul, Karma from Assassination Classroom, Marco Bot from Attack on Titan, Kyoshi from Prison School. There's a new show that just came out. I think it's called Love Tyrant. I'm in the lead in that. I'm also in the lead in Is This a Zombie? Bento, Guilty Grand, Defrag. What else? I don't know. Huh? Like, oh, I just showed up in that show. But you already knew that. You're my favorite now. Look, I don't know. I've done a bunch of random anime shows, and all of you are here either because you're bored or because you're not. But, oh, shit, great, we have a question. Thank you so much, because I will talk way too much forever.
What I was wondering is, what episode...
Can we get the volume down 1 notch? But I really like the music, too. Thank you so much, dude. You fucking rock. This whole place fucking rocks. And I hope no one here is young, because I woke us. Okay. Sorry, go.
What episode of the anime of Tokyo Ghoul have you recorded up to? Like, are you on season 1 or Route A?
Route A, I finished season 1 in Route A at the same time, which was literally like a year ago.
Ah.
So I'm guessing, are you doing DVDs?
I already own both of them.
Like, how are you watching them?
Oh, I watched all of them already.
Oh, wait.
I watched the Japanese.
Oh, you watched all the sub ones?
Yeah.
Okay, so I dubbed Route A, and I dubbed the first season, like a year ago, and I actually dubbed them at the same time, which pissed everyone off for some reason. But what happened is Funimation got the licensing for the title Tokyo Ghoul after season 1 was done. And are you familiar with what simuldubs are?
Yep.
Simultaneous?
newer
Okay.
about?
So
Filming at the same thing, same day kind of deal.
exactly. But yes. I will help Funimation promote their product, which you're recording me. I'm not gonna say anything else about that. They just signed a new deal, and they have this new thing going on called a simulcast up, where it's really difficult for everyone in the industry right now. But it's also really cool, and hopefully the product doesn't suffer. But in general, what used to happen is we would get a Japanese show. That was annoying. We would get a Japanese show, and then it would take about a year in order to get licensing, and then recording, and then mixing, and turning into a DVD, and then selling. So on average, you would get a show about a year after Japan pulled it out. Well, we have moved to a new space where instead of doing like 9 DVDs in a season, and there's about 3 to 4 seasons a year, which changes depending on what's going on, now we're doing about 25 to 28 shows in simulcast, which means that show is brand new. It premiered in Japan on Monday, and then Funimation had an English dub for it by the next Monday. And when we started doing Tokyo Ghoul, we were doing 2 things at once. Season 1 had already happened, so it already had to go straight to DVD. And Season 2 had just started, so what they decided to do was a simulcast version of Season 2, and then a straight to DVD version of Season 1. So I actually I would go in the booth and spend 5 hours there, and the first 3 hours would be me doing Season 1, and then the second 2 hours would be me doing Season 2. So like Kaneki like this, and Kaneki like this would happen the same day, all the time.
What is the single most infuriating experience you've ever had in voiceovers?
Infuriating experience in voiceovers. These are always weird questions, because it's a little bit weird because you gotta realize, like, we are desperate homeless gypsies, and anytime someone wants to pay us to do something, I'm kind of like, oh, thank God. So I can never be too frustrated. Now, you're talking about in the booth while recording stuff. Gosh, shit. Give me 2 seconds to think of this. Well, I'll tell you, it's a hard thing to pick because it's such a joy to be able to just be in that environment. And of every type of, so I've had a huge amount of infuriating experiences as an actor, being on a commercial set or an industrial shoot or a print shoot. Believe it or not, for some reason, people want to take pictures of me. I've been on movie sets, I've been on TV shows, and that shit can like hurt. And like millions of people around, not millions, hundreds of people around you treating you like shit in a product and like not worried about your safety and putting you in terrible positions and just expecting you to be okay with it. Especially in theater too, man. Theater, they'll make you sit there for literally 5 hours being a plant and expect you to be grateful for it. But when you do voiceover work, especially at Funimation, like you go in there, you immediately find out what you're gonna do. You're working with someone who's awesome because maybe there's tiny differences that I can bring up between directors. Like, I like this director more than that director for certain reasons. But everyone up there is fucking cool as shit. So, like, the first thing that comes to mind is I've had multiple days where, like, and, oh God, everyone's always recording me. Whatever. Look, I'm a fucking homeless person, basically. I'm serious. When I first started doing cons, which was like 2 years ago, I was living in my girlfriend's van. It wasn't even my van. Okay? It's a weird, gypsy, crazy like situation to be involved in. So you're always super grateful to just even get a chance to. I'm not answering your question at all. Okay, and how about this? The most annoying thing that happens for me in the booth is when I give a read that fits the lines. Because sorry, I'm a tangential person. You have to deal with this. Thank you for hanging out with me. But what's different than Prelay or any of these other voice actors that you're going to talk to that don't do anime? And Prelay is American cartoons.
You do the voice, you act the lines, you think they're appropriate, and then someone animates around you. My job is to fucking like take someone else's performance and turn it into English. And people are always like, what was your motivation for Kaneki's character? And like, don't get me wrong, there was stuff there that I personally connected to. But you know what? His journey was based on some other motherfucker that already did this. So my job is to pay respect to the animation that's already happened and to give an American version of how that sounds. And very often there are lines that I think, oh man, I can make this so dramatic, or I can make this so funny, or I know exactly how I want this to say. But because what already happened is the animator animated the eyebrows to do this instead of this, believe it or not, that's half of our job. It's completely technical. Being an anime voiceover actor is you're painting by numbers, you're paying attention to specific animated things that have already happened, you're translating them. As opposed to me reading the transcript of the scene and going, Kaneki's not mad right now. He's fucking, like, distraught. He's jealous and he's scared. But no, it's too late. The other actor already decided, no, he's mad, so I need to do an American version of mad. So what pisses me off the most is when I give a read that fits the flaps. That's the main thing that we have to do, is we have to say words that fit the flaps exactly. And if I fit the flaps, but I don't like my line reading, and because we're doing simulcast dubs, you have to do 1 million. I'm getting straight to you, baby. I'm gonna be there so soon. We have to go through it so quickly that we don't have time to like worry about quality assurance. So I do this thing now because nothing pisses me off more than when I get through a line and I think it's the worst fucking thing ever. I'm allowed to cuss, right? Am I allowed to cuss? Who's in charge of me? Am I gonna get in trouble?
No.
Okay, are you counting how many people are here? Can you double it? Just make sure. Because look, I want to get invited back. That's the main thing. I love you guys. I'm really good. But thank you so much. But I only get invited back if I entertain you enough. Anyway, fuck me. What was I talking about? Okay, yeah. So what sucks is like sometimes you'll say a line and it fits the flaps, and the director is working his ass off, dude. Since we did simulcast up, these directors are working so hard all day long, even when they're not getting paid, that sometimes they're like, well, shit, it fits. Okay, we need to move on. I have a million fucking things to do today. But in my mind, I'm like, that was the worst fucking line read ever. I fucking hate it. I wish I could not have had that happen. So I started doing a new thing where, like, halfway through the line, if I start to realize this is not how I want it to go, I'll be like, so like the line might be, oh no, Suzuki, we need to stop the giant. And like halfway through the line, I'll decide that it's not going well, so I'll be like, oh no, Suzuki, fuck, cock, shit, dick, balls. And it'll fit the flaps, but like, those weren't the lines, we gotta do them again. So that's how I deal with that. But there's other things that infuriate me that, I don't know, I don't want to talk too much shit about other people, but sometimes like, dude, actors get really confused and like do really crazy things to keep themselves relevant because they're so easy to be replaced. I mean, I've seen actors like show up and be like, hey, it's special so-and-so day, and like give Starbucks gift cards to all the directors, and I'm just like, really? You want your career to be based on Starbucks gift cards? What are you doing in here? Don't get me wrong, I love my job. I love doing anime. I enjoy watching anime, but I'm not going to pretend like the reason that anime is amazing or not is because of my input. Thank you for enjoying or hating my vocal performance, but come on, the reason that we like shows like Tokyo Ghoul, because they're good fucking shows. It has nothing to do with me. Anyway, new topic. Let's talk about something else. Wait, she was freaking out and she said something before. Are you going to say something again? Do it quick now or never. Yeah, I'm talking about you. You kept raising your hand. Huh? Oh, are you not? Did he tell you that? Oh, your friend did. Okay, too late. Nobody cares. Boring. Somewhere else. Who do we got? Oh, that guy. Ask me later.
Okay, so when you were doing the voiceovers for Tokyo Ghoul, did you read the manga at all?
I actually didn't. And oh, I'm sorry, that annoyed you a little bit.
No, it didn't annoy me. It's just that, like, number one, I love Tokyo Ghoul, and it wasn't even like the anime that introduced me to it. I started reading it off it was at the bottom of my manga reading list for my app.
Yeah, totally.
And then I saw the anime. I liked it. And I continued to read it. Compared the two, it's two crazy different stories.
It is, isn't it? And I'm sorry, I haven't read the manga, but the majority of the consensus that I hear is that the manga is a more interesting story. Do you agree? Or is it a different story?
Well, with Tokyo Ghoul in the anime, I feel like between season 1 and season 2, it's like season 1 was like, okay, so this is some dark shit. And then the beginning of season 2 was like, where the fuck am I? And the ending of season 2 was like, oh, there's hope. Where the whole entirety of Tokyo Ghoul, where I got into a Tokyo Ghoul read, it's like, it's a dark pit.
Yeah, right? It's just like
I'm doing it for my Taiko.
I agree, and I honestly, it sounds like the Japanese production staff agrees with you, and the hope is that if we get to a season 3, that it's going to get closer to where the manga was going for. Yeah, listen, I didn't read the manga. I don't read manga in general. Number one, because like my job is so like obsessed with absorbing media. Like I have to read things every single day that I audition for and stuff like that. And I don't even have time to watch the shows that I necessarily wanted to watch that were outside of the things that I'm involved in. Not to mention that I kind of cringe at the possibility of having to watch myself or any character that I'm involved in because it makes me overly insecure about whatever's going on. But, shit, I lost my fucking train of thought. Aside from that, I had a different point. Wait, what was your actual question? Oh, you just asked me if I read it. Yes, I did read it. Oh, here's the other thing I was going to say. Look, it's not when it comes to being a voice actor who is redubbing English anime. And by that, I mean, if I were to sit down and read everything there is to know about Tokyo Ghoul, then I would come into the booth with a premeditated idea of exactly how everything is going to be said. And storytelling-wise, even though like we know the character knows something, it might not be right for him to reveal that or give a certain line reading. And not only that, the more as an actor you get invested in how you think something is supposed to go, the more disconnect you have from the director. And I completely believe, especially in anime that's been dubbed into English, the most important factor is, the English anime director. Because on some level, and I'm not trying to demean voice actors that do what I do, okay? I'm not trying to say what I do is not artistic or doesn't involve skill or anything like that, but I'm a fucking tool. I'm a good tool. I'm an expensive, sophisticated tool. But the real artist that made Tokyo Ghoul happen in the English version, if we're just talking about the English performances, that was Mike McFarland. And here's why. I'm gonna try to say this quickly because I don't want to bore the shit out of everyone, but like I've done a lot of stuff on stage, and when I played a character on stage, like you work with the director, but once you're on stage, that's you. You are this person inside your body. You have to inhabit this person and do everything that does. And when you're rehearsing a scene, because in live theater or in most quality movies, you actually rehearse the scene. So you discover what it means to have this conversation with another person. It could be that the line sounds like it's supposed to be like a bubbling anger. It could be like, you fucking fucked my wife, I'm gonna fucking kill you. But the truth in that moment, based on who you are and who that actor is and what's going on between you, there might be, instead of a rage, is a bubbling up of like weird laughter or strange like sociopathy. So it could be like, you fucked my wife? All right. Yeah. Okay. That's great. See, but I don't make that choice. I can't decide whether or not my character is going to go this way or that way or the other, because the Japanese people already figured that out. It's already been animated that way. Like, when we have a scene between Kaneki and Toka, and Kaneki is just going to be like, I'm going to sound like this the whole time. I don't get to make that decision. What I have to do is, to my best ability, portray what has already happened, and hopefully I keep the integrity, while at the same time realizing that it's a completely different set of syllables. So Kaneki might be like saying something in 8 syllables, but the meaning that he's saying is, that's a good point. So we have to figure out how to make that's a good point into 8 syllables that make sense, or the exact opposite. You know, like it could be a huge, meaningful thing that he's saying that comes out in 2 flaps, and I have to make that work. So it's a completely perverted system where I don't get to really decide artistically exactly what I'm doing, but more than that, I am there to help the director accomplish his goal. And our goal is to create an English version of the animes that you love so much and translate them while not abusing the animation that's already been created. Which is where you get the whole fucking dub-sub argument. You know, people are like, subs are just better. Well, it's like, yeah, you know what you got? You got an unencumbered actor that and in Japan, half the time when they're doing pre-laid, which means they're performing before the animation happens, you get to, like in One Piece, they're all in the same room. They get to talk back and forth to each other. Last time I got into an argument with Toka, it was me alone in a room being like, I don't agree with that. Is that what you really think? This is where we need to go. Like, I don't know what she's saying. I don't know how heated she is. I can't, as an actor, naturally respond to that. My only job is to be the best fucking tool possible and have faith in my director because he knows how and where it's going to go. Sorry, I don't even remember if I answered your question anymore. I went off on a tangent. But I really want you guys to understand that there's a reason, that there's a difference in quality of acting performance that you hear from Japanese and American people, especially when you're dealing with anime. It's because we have a huge amount of factors and hoops that we're jumping through, and it doesn't mean that we suck more than other people. Sorry. Sorry, he raised his hand a bunch, so let's hear what he has to say.
Okay, so my question is
are you gonna put this on YouTube?
Yes. My question is, if you had any role, like any show that you would like to go into, like if you had a choice.
Yes.
Which anime character or which show would you like to voice role in if you had like a choice?
Strangely enough, I've heard this question a few times. And I think, you know, a lot of times people are like, oh, do the crazy fantastical one. But you know what? There's a show called Tamo no Rin. And none of, watch this. Raise your hand if you've watched Tamo no Rin. What? Really? Oh shit, really? God, I wish I gave you, oh, you've heard of it. Oh, no one cares about it. You watched it. God. If I had some, do you want a dog? Can I give you a dog?
I'll take it.
What's your name? Okay, hold on.
It's not a second autograph because you took a picture. You are an American hero.
Thank you. Okay, if I were to be stuck in a show, I probably want it to be that one. Because all he does is hang out with 2 strange girls that are, for some reason, battling against his attention. And I don't know if you've ever existed in that universe, but I haven't. But no one's getting eaten. No one has to die. That one, or maybe is this a zombie?
I love Ayamu.
Basically any harem anime comedy. Although I say that, but I don't know if that should be true because no lead male in a harem anime ever gets any sexual satisfaction. Yes! Can you scream it?
Have you ever watched Sankyo no Terror?
No.
It's amazing, and I think you do amazingly as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That one.
talk at all, I need a cough drop?
Yes. Many times. The entire half end of season 1 of Tokyo Ghoul, probably. And it's not even, it's not as much a cough drop as it is raw ginger soaked in honey. And instant gratification would be a hot toddy, but don't do that because it long-term fucks your shit up. Let's do this guy.
What are your thoughts on
Are you done now, or are you just leaving?
Now I have to go to the bathroom.
Someone get this woman to come. Oh shit, I just assumed gender. I'm so sorry.
What are your thoughts on the Bridge series, by the way?
The Dragon Ball?
Yeah.
Even Tokyo Ghoul.
Did they do an abridged Tokyo Ghoul?
I'm an abridger that does that type of thing.
Are you part of 4-star? Or?
No.
But you did an abridged.
Yes, I do.
Fuck yeah, dude. I love it. I love it. I love it. I think. I mean, I guess I can use 4-star.
Yeah, I know.
I can use them as an example. Like, they were popping up when Dragon Ball wasn't even like as big of a franchise, and as soon as a fictional narrative gets this far entrenched into common society, I don't want to demean the creators, but at some point they lose ownership, and the fans have ownership. And fuck yes, dude, parody the shit out of that. It only helps everyone, and it's always fucking funny and entertaining, and mimicry is the best form of flattery, and you know, being able to evolve things story-wise on the different ridiculous ways that they can be. I mean, it's the same thing as plays. Like for so long, the same plays got recreated over and over and over again in different styles and different ways. Like, why not do the same thing with new media? Fuck yes, please do that. I would love to watch it. I'm so entertained by any of that.
Tokyo Ghoul the hell out.
Please do Twitter me or Facebook me stuff, and I'll retweet it because that sounds so much fun.
Sure.
Him, maybe? Sorry to keep that short, but fuck yeah, dude. Knock that shit up.
Alright, so it's the end of the day, you get home from a big day of work, you take off your pants, you lay in bed, and you want to watch something. You just want to watch something that will help make your day. What would you watch?
That's a good question.
Like, it could be beyond anime.
Because after work, you always take your pants off. Why does he have to take his pants off?
I'm really lame. I've been trying to look at new stuff. What's the newest stuff I've watched? I just recently watched, on the flight here, I decided to start watching The Path with the dude from Breaking Bad, because I know him. Well, also, it wasn't too bad. It takes a lot of effort for me to get into a new show. I'll tell you my guilty pleasure, because I'm an insomniac and I have trouble sleeping, period. Like, I sleep maybe 6 hours, hopefully, a night. And I do this weird thing where, like, I love new shows, but in general, when I want to feel comfort, like when I'm eating some food, naked in bed, I watch like reruns of The Office or Parks and Rec over and over again, and it's getting bad. It's getting to the point where I'm annoyed at myself for doing it. But there's something about it that now here's the thing: I can't just sit down and do that. I have to like do that while redditing or playing a random game or something. But that noise in the background is something that it comforts me. Aside from the fact that I really admire Steve Carell and his portrayal of Michael Scott. I think is an incredible acting lesson. If anybody here is interested in being an actor and learning about what it is to have beats within a moment,
I'm sorry, you're important, but I have other things to attend to.
where do you go?
I'm going to see my girlfriend.
Ooh. What's her name?
That's his sister up there, the one that told me to shut up. Her name is Sam.
I'll stop this before I get in trouble. Bye-bye. I love you. Yeah, big hand. Man, he's kicking ass. Look at that.
Alright, so there's an anime in particular that when it got dubbed, all the actors got told you can pretty much throw the script to the wind.
Are you talking about Shin-Chan?
No, I'm actually talking about Ghost Stories.
Yep.
Yep. The actual anime when it came out sub was, mystery spooky. Ooh, let's go into the haunted high school that we should have gone into in the first place because why the fuck not? But then they decided to translate it to dub, and they just said, "Hey, actors, have at it." And it's like one of those things that if you ever just want to unwind, relax, just throw on Ghost Stories dub.
Is it on Netflix or Funimation or Crunchyroll?
It's on YouTube.
Yep. Oh, it's on YouTube. Most of the abridged is on YouTube.
Fucking pirates. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Hey, Funimation puts their stuff on YouTube.
No, other people put Funimation stuff on YouTube. Okay, that is not Funimation. This is a minute and a half clip. You are stealing. We'll go here. Okay, I'm gonna start doing. How much time do we have, dude? Oh shit! Okay, we're gonna start going a little bit more. I'm gonna try to be better at getting everyone's questions. Yeah, you go.
Hardest voice you ever portrayed?
Lunare from Tales of Zestiria. Please don't ever watch it. But basically, it was a lot of. A lot of that. I hate it.
A lot of passive kidney stone.
Oh God! Why did I even do that? Next question, over here.
What are some tips or advice maybe if I were to try to get into the voice acting industry?
Oh, you son of a bitch! I wish you were at my last panel. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna give you a bunch of. We got 15 minutes left. I will give you tips and tricks. Stay afterwards and talk to me. If there's anybody else that is really interested in hearing, I'll give you a 5-minute spiel. There's shit you need to write down when I tell you it, but I don't want to kill the last 15 minutes just in case there's other questions. But I totally feel your concern, and I want to talk to you about that. But let's do a different question. I'm sorry, just because it's closer. I'm gonna do this quickly.
Were you an anime fan before you started your medium as a voice actor?
I was a fantasy sci-fi media fan. So I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z. I loved Soul Boy. I watched a bunch of really obscure, inappropriate animes when I was a kid, but I wouldn't identify myself as an anime fan. But I still loved it. As much as I love Doctor Who or fucking or Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is a book, but it's also a radio show. There's a bunch of weird shit that I'm into. That was part of it, but it wasn't something I identified with. New question. This one right here.
Oh shit.
What was your favorite line of voices Carmen from Assassination Classroom, and what did you think when you first read the script?
First of all, as a voice actor, you don't ever get to read the script. It just starts happening. And for me, one of my favorite lines is, "I've always wanted to kill myself, a teacher." But also, one of my favorite moments is in the second episode, they never fucking explain it, where all of a sudden he flings himself off a cliff. And he's like, "Yes, finally." And then Koro Sensei catches him. There's this moment of suicide that never gets commented on again. I always thought that was really cool. Okay, next question.
Other than the anime that you've already mentioned throughout this, what's your next favorite?
What? Oh, Cowboy Bebop's a good one. I would say, first of all, one of my favorite anime director-writers is the guy that did Cowboy Bebop, who also did Space Dandy. Love Space Dandy. Love Space Dandy. It's right in line with the sci-fi stuff that I grew up with and was really interested into. I was a big Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy fan, and that falls right in that category. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick with that answer. Next question. Yes, if you can yell it.
Okay, so do you believe that the Mugen from Samurai Champloo is the father of the Cowboy Bebop main character, Cowboy Bebop the main character of Space Dandy, or yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yes.
What is the most extreme form of media that you enjoy?
Pokemon.
Colonoscopies. Next question. Anybody? Do I just need to take my dick out? Usually I get a more positive response to that.
What inspired you to get into acting?
What inspired me to get into acting? It was kind of accidental. I think I was always a kid that needed attention. I was also and you'll notice this about most actors, I'm incredibly introverted, but introverted means that you expend energy when you're in a group full of people, and most actors and performers you're going to find are incredibly introverts, because extroverts want to go out to a bar and talk to a bunch of people and gain energy from that. But introverts have this weird desire and expectation and need to entertain everyone around them. So, I'm going to leave here and I go back to my room and just be like, So I'm incredibly introverted. Fuck, what was your question again? What inspired me to get into acting, right? Yes. So I'm an introverted person who has a natural desire to, perform in front of groups of people, or at least to give myself out to the people around me, which I think essentially what an introvert really is. And the thing that got me into acting was I showed up late. I was a runaway. Sorry, I was a wayward youth, and I ended up showing up late in 9th grade. And they were basically like, "You're gonna go into dance," and I was like, "Fuck you! No, I'm not." And they're like, "Maybe we can squeeze you into theater." And so in high school, I started doing theater, and for some reason, there was an outlet for me to do stuff that made sense. And I think even since I was a small child, I was constantly not just looking for validation, but just had a need to present things to the people around me. And that turned into high school theater, which turned into college theater, which turned into getting an agent, and that's kind of where it went. And the more I got involved in it, the more I realized there's really nothing else that I felt like doing. Next question.
So you mentioned Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Are you aware that there's a movie of it?
Are you talking about the new movie, or are you talking about the BBC show?
No, there is an actual movie.
Right, with is that it's not Martin Freeman, but it's the poor man's Martin Freeman. Is it actually Martin Freeman?
It is actually Martin Freeman.
Yeah, I saw it. The thing that pissed me off about that movie is that they tried to turn his relationship with Trillian into a love story, which is fucking wrong. That's not how the movies, it's not how the books work.
It's not how the book works.
So first of all, I don't know if you know this, but the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy started off as a BBC radio show.
Radio play.
Radio play. One of my favorite things ever. And then there was a BBC movie or short miniseries. That's the word. Thank you. Based on that, I love both of those things more than I love the movie. But I'm also really happy that the movie happened. It's one of those things. It's like when you watch the last Harry Potter films. It's like, you're doing it wrong, but I still like the visualization. Visualization. Fuck you.
So, you mentioned you like sci-fi and Doctor Who, which is time travel. Anime recommendation, Steins Gate.
I haven't watched it.
It is
phenomenal. It is so good.
That's the one that Chuck's in, right?
No.
Dr. Stein? Is that?
No, that's Soul Eater.
He's from a different thing.
Joy Michael Tatum.
I'm always confused by that. Okay, Steins Gate.
Steins Gate.
All right. You've been having your hand up for a long time.
Oh, sorry. Keep it with him. I'm gonna hear her right now.
Do that. Damn, he's kicking ass.
He's really quick. Okay, so you're really into sci-fi. My favorite book is Hitchhikers, but please tell me if you watched Red Dwarf.
Fuck yes!
Thank you.
Yeah!
Oh! I've always been slightly annoyed by the cat dude. Not that I'm against the idea that a cat somehow evolved into a human without an ability to procreate, but more just the character kind of annoyed me. But man, there are some good episodes in that show.
Thank you.
Oh, good job. I grew up, that was on PBS when I was a kid, before I knew what was going on. And in fact, it's gotten to the point where I pirated a couple.
There's 11 seasons now.
What do you mean now?
There's 11 seasons.
When did they stop?
Well, they stopped a decade ago, and then they came out with season 9, 10 years later, and it was hilarious. It's only 3 episodes. And then they came out with season 10, which only has about 6, and now they have...
Okay, we have to talk about this later.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Do you prefer
I might have
Holly
homework
as a
for the
man or a
evening.
woman?
Yes, sir.
The original.
How did you first get into
Come on now.
Funimation? Like talking about Funimation?
Sucking nonsense.
Fucking list.
Sure did, dick. No, I'm kidding. I won a raffle. I can get you a ticket, $10. Look, I don't know, man. Look, seriously, it's a crapshoot, okay? We can have this conversation, but we're running out of time, and if anybody really, really wants me to give the spiel, I can, but basically, I worked my fucking ass off for 14 years. That's how I got into Funimation. And I did that by trying to be an actor in every way I could, because guess what? There's no such thing as a voice actor. That's not a thing, except for like 4 dudes, and even those dudes probably just wanted to be actors. So to this day, every day, all day long, I'm trying to be an actor in any way I can. It just so happens the only thing that people give a shit about is Tokyo Ghoul, which is why we're all talking here. So for me, the best way to get into acting is to start with acting classes. You do acting classes, you can do local improv classes, you can do whatever you can find in your community. And that's going to lead you to people that know more information, and that's going to help you with other information. And frankly, like, you can't do voiceover work if you don't live in a town that does voiceover work unless you're willing to fly to Dallas every other month for less money than you get paid waiting tables. I mean, if that's a thing you're into. People have done it. But yeah, acting is acting. That's like me walking into a lawyer's office and being like, hey, I filled out some forms. Show me where to go. It's out there. There's lessons, there's classes. I don't know what your community is like locally. I'd be happy to talk to you guys more about this towards the end. How much time are we? Shit. Okay, we're gonna form a line. I can talk to some people about voice acting stuff, but trust me, it's boring as shit. Half you have to listen to half the things I say. And yeah, I don't want to waste more time on that for now. I should do another panel like this. Anyway, we can come back to that if everybody in the room wants me to talk about that, but trust me, it gets boring. But that's a valid question, and I'll talk to you afterwards if you're interested. But just pull out a pen and paper, because I'll give you information if you don't record it. That will annoy me. Does anybody else have any other questions? God, dude, you are great.
Just real curious. How's life?
Fuck you. Did you just say bye, Dad? I love you. Hey. Binary oriented person? I didn't know what you just said. What did he say? I can't hear you.
It's a classical stop moment.
Oh.
Like that.
Cause I'm a man.
Well, we got a soundtrack with it.
How's life?
Your life.
I guarantee you my life is less stable than yours. Yours. Actually, that's very silly. But thank you. Life is great, okay? Life is what you make it. I'm this weird. I was an electrical engineer in college on a full academic scholarship. And all of my friends from that era have houses and wives and health insurance, and it's a weird idea about what success is. Like, what does success mean to you? And I can't say whether or not I've been successful, but I can tell you that I have the rare privilege of regularly being able to get in touch with myself and being able to not touch other people, that sounds wrong, but to relate in a way that's like
almost religious in the way that we get to feel when a lot of people don't get to do that. And I spent 8 years as a programs and office manager for a nonprofit, and I made more money than I needed to. And every day I spent like $20 on comfort creatures because I was so unhappy with my life. So on some level, I guess I should say that life is great, but also there's this extra weird layer of discipline. And I'm still a baby to this, okay? I've been voice acting for a really long time, but only for about 2 years has this been my whole existence. So like, the idea of waking up in the morning and doing positive things for you as a person, and like learning to love life and like make things for yourself and just like, I don't know, cook tea and like be happy with things and not be worried about how you have psoriasis or bug bites or how you're going bald and how that's going to ruin your career. It's weird stuff, okay? I don't know, man. I can't, God damn you, that is a complicated answer.